Alright, so originally I wanted to create a short video directed mainly for the members who ranged during wars. The purpose of that was to show the rangers how to use their prayers to the maximum possible benefit of it. But when I started to make the video, I quickly realized that there really is not much to show or teach for that matter. Now basically you need to flash Eagle Eye at just the right time so it registers before your ranged hit. If you're familiar with Pay to Play Curse Soul Split, then you should immediately know what I mean by flicking the prayer right as the hit goes. You can see me doing just that in the clip. This can get annoying in the long run, but you're giving yourself an overall 15% bonus for both ranged accuracy and ranged strength. I can't force anyone to do this, of course, but if everyone makes an effort to do so, our KO power would probably be insanely greater. The only tip I can give is to have the middle sound option turned on just a little bit, so you can hear the sound of your bow shooting during wars. And of course, you should do this with a longbow sight. After you hear the sounds for long enough, eventually you will just know when you're about to shoot an arrow, which is when you turn on your Eagle Eye quickly and then turn it off. The main purpose of this is of course to provide the maximum hits and accuracy for all rangers, and without the limitation of prayer points in free to play, as flashing the whole war will only take about 20 prayer points away if done properly. As you should be able to see at the end of this clip, I max a 180 hit, which proves that the flashing technique does provide bonus if done properly. So I decided to extend the video and try out a few different combinations with the longbow sight and graphite rapier to see which will do more damage and under what circumstances. I had a friend help me, as you can see, and keep in mind that he's wearing the average tanking gear for clan war fights, and he is not using any defensive prayers, as that would slow down the damage rate too much. So in other words, it's not too much nor too little defense to give bad results. Also keep in mind that I am 96 range, and other than that, I have maxed combat stats. I'm trying to make the video as short as I can, so the clips of me hitting every hit will be sped up a lot. I guess you'll just have to trust me on the results that I got. I'm making this to inform people, not trick people. As you can already see, I alternated in hitting my friend with the longbow sight and rapier. At this point I am using the Eagle Eye flashing for the longbow sight and a strength potion with no prayer for the rapier. I didn't want to spend too much time on each trial, so I had my friend eat 8 lobsters each time, which gave him approximately an extra life points bar of 98 hit points. The total damage dealt in each segment is approximately 200 hit points, when taking into consideration the automatic hit points healing over time. After having 3 trials with both weapons, I was able to add up the total times and would divide the total number of damage dealt, which is around 600, by that number. I received the following results. The longbow sight with flashing gave me the 3 results: 127 seconds, 152 seconds, and 97 seconds. When averaged, it gave me 2 minutes and 5 seconds. After calculating the damage per second, I got 4.8 hit points. With the rapier, I got 205 seconds, 159, and 191 seconds, which averaged out to 3 minutes and 5 seconds. The damage per second on that would be 3.2. This is a difference of 33%. That's a big difference. So from the first 2 tests, it is clear that the longbow sight is superior to the rapier by damage per second. Something to keep in mind though, is that in an actual war the damage per second of the rapier would be far less, as there are plenty of obstacles that will allow you to get hugged, resulting in a loss of hits. Also, you'll be catching binds, assuming you're not one of these idiots that pure melee, which will also decrease the amount of hits you deal. Neither of those factors come into play while ranging, which clearly makes it better than the rapier. So for all of you who thought the graphite rapier is better, think again. As you can already see in the clip, I decided to test something that I've been curious about for a while. When melee is put on a 15% buffer, which one is better to use, the 15% attack or 15% strength? I did 3 tests again for each prayer. I did this on a pay-to-play world so I can recharge my prayer points with no extra bonuses. I will only show the first trials for each prayer as I am limited on the length of the video. I personally use the 15% strength buffer, and I'm sure that's what the majority of mailers do as well. Despite a very slow start in the first trial for the attack buffer, which lasted longer than all 3 trials without prayer, it made an amazing comeback. These were the results of the Rapier with the 15% attack buffer. It gave me 213, 110, 116 seconds, which averaged out to 2 minutes and 26 seconds. After calculating the damage per second, it was 4.1 hit points. I have to say though that the 15% strength buffer put up some massive hits, but even still ended up being significantly slower than the attack buffer. I got the following results for the Rapier with the 15% strength buffer. 186, 151, 158 seconds, which averaged out to 2 minutes and 45 seconds. After calculating the damage per second, I got 3.6 hit points. Also keep in mind that I drank a dose of strength potion directly before each trial to get the best results. From the results, we can see that the 15% attack buffer is about 12% better than the strength. So when you hear our callers tell you to buffer the melee, you now know what you should pray. Up next is what I decided to do to argue against the newly placed rule that members should range only if they are 96 range or higher. I wanted to see how low of a range level is needed to actually be worse than melee. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, but I did get something fairly close. What I did was, since I was in a pay-to-play world, I brewed down to 85 range and used the flashing technique. The results I got show the true power of a ranger that has a longbow sight. Since the lower stats automatically increase over time, range level was between 85 and 89, so an average range level of 87 was used. I got the following results for the longbow sight while brewed down and flashing eagle eye. 135, 151, and 158 seconds, which averaged out to 2 minutes and 28 seconds. After calculating the damage per second, I got 4 hit points exactly. From the results, 87 range with flashing was still around 20% better than the potted Rapier, and just about the same as the Rapier with either of the 15% melee buffers. Just because of these results, I did not expect the range requirement to go down to 85 or so, but think about what a ranger with 92, 93, or 94 range can do. Our binds are normally up to par, so I think that the range unit needs to be slightly bigger. The last test I did while recording was the longbow sight without flashing prayers. I did 3 trials with it, but I'm only showing 1 due to the time constraint. I got the following results with the longbow sight without flashing eagle eye with 96 range. 114, 168, 149 seconds, which averaged out to 2 minutes and 23 seconds. After calculating the damage per second, I got 4.2 hit points. This shows that the flashing technique is about 13% better than without it. This is why you should make the effort to flash eagle eye at all times, or at the least have it on for the maximum possible time throughout the war. I did 2 more tests that I didn't record because of the time constraint, the first of which was the Rapier without a strength pot or any prayers. I got the following results: 199, 202, and 225 seconds, which averaged out to 4 minutes and 8 seconds. After calculating the damage per second, I got 2.9 hit points. This is 10% worse than the Rapier with a strength pot, so you should always have a strength pot and be ready to pot up during wars. The second test I didn't record was the Graphite 2H with a strength pot and no prayers, just for fun to see if it is better than the Rapier and by how much. I got the following results: 116, 168, 149 seconds, which averages out to 1 minute and 58 seconds. After calculating the damage per second, I got 5.1 hit points. This is an extraordinary 35% difference in favor of the Graphite 2H. Despite this, binders should never bind while wielding a Gravity 2H, as the binds are thrown with the attack speed of the Gravity 2H, which is slower compared to a Rapier. Rangers should definitely use the Gravity 2H in Clan Wars fights, only if they're confident that they can switch from the Rapid style on the bow to the Smash style on the Gravity 2H on time. I would like to quickly thank my friend who helped me throughout the whole process. Thank you very much. He goes by the name Griffin900, and I hope that each and every one of you can benefit in some way from watching this video.